Hi, I'm DJ Spiess and you're watching What is Java Messaging on DGU. In this episode, we're going to look at what is Java messaging and how does it work. Then we'll look at sending and receiving messages. By the end of this video, you should know all the basics for Java message communication. This video uses Java 7, JMS 2.0, and the Wildfly application server. The code should run on other Java 7 EE application servers, but your mileage may vary. I only tested on Wildfly. Anything else, you're on your own. Messaging is as simple as it sounds. You are sending a message from one computer to another computer. Usually, we use messaging systems to allow two very different systems to communicate. You can also use messaging to allow two or more systems to communicate asynchronously, usually in a store and forward architecture. The Java Message Service, or JMS, is an interface to send messages. The interface describes the objects sent and the objects involved in the conversation, but leaves the implementation of that service up to the third-party vendors. The message can be anything you like, but usually it's text or bytes organized in some agreed format. The two computers involved in the messaging are usually called the producer and the consumer. The producer creates messages, the consumer receives messages. The communication is asynchronous, which means the consumer is free to receive the message whenever it wants at some later date and time. In between the producer and the consumer is an object that facilitates message communication. It's called the destination. Now there are two types of destinations: a queue and a topic. If your message can be received by only one consumer, you need to use a queue. A queue guarantees delivery to one and only one consumer. If more than one consumer is connected to the queue, only one consumer gets the message. It's first come, first served. If your message can be received by any and all consumers listening, you need to use a topic. A topic is a special type of queue that guarantees delivery to all consumers subscribed to the topic. If no one's listening, a message placed on the topic is dropped and gone forever. You only get the message if you're listening. So what if you weren't paying attention and you really needed to get that message? You can create a special kind of consumer called a durable subscriber. This guarantees that all messages get to the durable subscriber when it reconnects to the topic. Out of the box, messaging is not enabled in Wildfly. Now, the easiest way to turn it on is to use the standalone all.xml file. This means go into your Wildfly directory. Under the standalone configuration subdirectory, look for the standalone.xml file. Rename it to standalone.old, then duplicate standalone full.xml and rename it to standalone.xml. We also need some queues to play with. To create a queue or topic, we need to add the following XML code to the standalone.xml file under the messaging system subsection. Now this adds one queue and one topic. The names can be anything you like. If you want to access these destinations from outside the Wildfly server, however, you must add the exported lines. This tells Wildfly to make the names available from other servers. The full standalone.xml file is located in the Git repository for this video. So, let's start her up. If you go to the admin console, you'll see a new menu item on the left called JMS Destinations. Click on that, and then you'll see the test queues and a test topic that we just created. They are now ready to use. Set up your naming context. A naming service associates names with objects. A context is a set of those associations. Here, we're just defining our initial context and telling it what server is providing the service and some security information. You'll have to either create an application user in Wildfly called guest or change this code to match your application user. You're also going to need to change the loopback address if your destination is on another server. Next, create the JMS connection factory and context. The JMS context provides the interface to the Java messaging service. We use this to create producers, consumers, and messages, which brings us to step number 3. Create a producer and send our message. If we need to attach headers, send a bytes message, or any other advanced message, we can use the context to create a message before we send it. If we're just sending a text message, this code is the simplest way to send it. Receiving a message uses almost the same identical code. The only code to change is step 3. In the final step, we create a consumer and receive the message. There are 2 ways to get the message quickly: receive body and receive body no wait. Receive body will block until you get a message, and receive body no wait will check for a message and return right away if one isn't present. These 2 methods return whatever's in the body. That's why we specify a class as the argument. If you want the whole message, just use receive. So, let's try running the code and see what happens. Run the simple JMS producer class. I'm running this in Eclipse, but you can run this from the command line as well. When you're done, you should see your message is sent. Then run the simple JMS consumer app. You will see the message we sent is returned by the consumer. That's it, we're done. In this video, we've learned a little bit about JMS, what it is, and how we send and receive messages. Next time, we'll cover how to do this in a Java Enterprise container. Till then,